Hey everybody, Tommy G here, and we're going to do a little flight. We're going to take off from the highest altitude airport in the United States, Leadville. Up in Leadville, Colorado. We're out here, came out here to watch a race, check out my garage, and then going to head back out south. But we're going to take off here. This airport's over 9,900 feet. So I'm trying to set the controls here for about 12,000 feet. Gonna throttle up, and it's gonna take us a little bit of time here to get the engine going, and we want to make sure we get a good long run. We're gonna need it for this runway. And as you can see, at this high altitude, it takes a while for airspeed to climb. There's the hangar on Leadville here. It's just gonna be a short little flight down to central Colorado in Buena Vista, but there we're just finally getting about a good enough airspeed I can start pulling back on the yoke. But even now I'm pulling back on the yoke and I'm just barely getting off the ground. And we're climbing, but just barely. So we're gonna hover above the runway somewhat. We probably should have gotten a little bit more airspeed before we pulled back. And when you get off the end of the runway here, you'll see there's a bit of a drop-off, which helps you out. You kind of need that, but you got to go over these power lines, so there's a little valley down there. You don't want to land in that if you don't have to, but we are making a gentle and general climb. For an aircraft like this, it's kind of a high-performance takeoff in a low-performance aircraft. So now we have, I think we still have flaps. I think we're going to retract our flaps in just a minute here. We're going 80 knots, and it looks like we're climbing at about 100 feet per minute. So yeah, I think I'm going to reach down. I'm going to change put the autopilot on. Oops, wait, I didn't have the heading set here properly. But I want the autopilot to help me maintain heading and a reasonable climb rate. And okay, just looking at my gauges, I want to look down at the map here. There you can see the airport we took off from, and we're just kind of following this sort of this low valley on our right to Buena Vista. And I think I could pull back a little bit on my mixture. Not a ton though. I want to make sure I'm on course for Buena Vista, so I gotta pull a little bit left here and just kind of adjust my heading bug. I think essentially we're gonna fly through the saddle and that saddle gap in those two mountains there. We're still, I mean, at 9,900 feet, we're still under the tree line. We're not quite to the top of the tree line yet, but we're close. And I'm looking down here. There's a nice mountain range off to the right there. The Rockies are beautiful. Pikes Peak is near here, but there's what a great place to be to live right out here, huh? You'd be up in the mountains, almost 10,000 feet. I don't know what that's like living at that altitude. I don't know if I'd want to do that. But I guess you're an outdoor person, a nature person. Look at all this forest here. It's quite the outdoor life up here. What a beautiful place, though. Great place to go flying. I wouldn't want to get lost out there, though. But yeah, you can see the tree line where the trees stop growing. And I guess we're just over 10,000 feet. So you can see our heading. 16. We're basically almost on runway heading still. And just check my map here. You can see it has a marked off at top of descent at 13,000 feet, but we're not going to be able to make it there. Because right now we're at let's see, 10,600 feet. we'll be lucky if we make it to 11,000 feet. Climbing at 200 feet per minute. There's my, you can see my RPMs are 2,500. I'm flying at just under 80 knots. We never really left flap speed, but I guess we didn't need to. This is going to be a short flight. Like I said, we're going to fly over that saddle, and I think over the next little range before we come down, make our approach towards Buena Vista, otherwise known as Central Colorado Airport. So, yeah, beautiful flight. It takes a little bit to get to take off at this altitude, but once you get up, you don't have far to go. If we glance off our right, there's a big reservoir out there that I think was dammed up and beautiful. There's a town off to the right of it, but what a beautiful valley here. There's a great country. We're going to cut away after taking a look at these beautiful hills and come right back to you as we're making our final approach down into Central Colorado or Buena Vista. Catch us back in another minute. Alright, so now we're making our long approach here to Buena Vista, and yeah, I got the clock wrong on this. I got the UTC 1955, and I didn't set that for local. Okay, so I'm starting in here about 80 knots. I'm coming in at 10,500 feet right now. You can see that's how it says 10,500. Descending at 500 feet per minute roughly. That's a good descent. And you can see the airport up ahead there. So that should get me in 3. I want to keep it between 3 and 600. Closer to 5. You can see I got 2,200 RPMs roughly. That's keeping me at a good approach angle. And again, I'm watching 80 knots. I've got one setting of flaps. I'm going to go down to a full setting as we get closer to final approach. But yeah, I'm trying to keep it here in the flap range, so I got to pull back a little bit on the throttle, and I'm slowing my descent rate to try and make sure I don't come in too soon. But yeah, look out the window. It's beautiful out there on our approach. A lot of nice pine trees. Let's see, I just flipped that down to full flap now. Here we are on the map. There's the final approach. And I see the full flaps are down all the way. You want to check those before you come in. So flaps are full, maintaining 80 knots. About 500 feet descent rate per minute, 2,100 RPMs. And again, I'm going to drop that a little bit when I come in on final. But yeah, you just want to keep bouncing back and forth on those instruments to make sure you're holding those. There's the town off to the left of Buena Vista, and there's this whole basin out to the right. Good ranching land, but there's a little road on the left and a road on the right as well. It kind of comes around the town like that and out, but the airport's right just to the west of the town there. So yeah, glancing down again, 80 knots, 9,650 feet about. You can see the, well, there's the town there. You can see the poppies. Let's see, 400 feet per minute, still 80 knots. I was going to say you can see those white lights just to the left of the runway. That's the poppy. And that still shows them a little bit high, but I'm okay. I'm not too concerned this far out. I'm already full flap. I'm still on long final. And I want to keep it, around 80 knots. But yeah, look at the mountains. It's gorgeous. Pikes Peak out this way. Yeah, you can see the tree line. What a nice basin Buena Vista's in, huh? It's the aptly named Buena Vista. And Central Colorado is the name of the airport. Okay, so again here I'm maintaining about 500 feet per minute descent rate, 80 knots. I'm coming down to 9,300 feet, and it looks like a pretty stable approach all the way in. Um, yeah, this is actually a pretty good one compared to some of the approaches I've had in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And in VR too. I mean, doing this in VR, obviously, I don't even know if I mentioned that or not. I'm doing all my Aerofly flying in VR because it's so much easier. You get a much better feel of the three-dimensional. You feel like you feel the altitude, you feel the runway as you're coming up to it. Still down at 500 feet per minute, 2200 RPM. Again, I'll drop that on short final. But now I'm pulling back on throttle a little bit now. Again, yeah, I'm going to bring that down. Probably 2200, but I want to maintain that 80 knots at 500 feet per minute. We're starting to come in over the northern edge of the town there. You can see most of the town off the left. And yeah, we're going to come in just right over these buildings. You know, I was saying kind of just come in over the town. Now I'm slowing a little bit. I'm trying to keep 80 and 500. Oh yeah, we glide in over the town and drop it right down on the runway. Slow down a little bit more. Now I'm at 2000 RPM. Still trying to pull back a little bit. Trying to maintain that 500. 80 knots. Well, now I'm 75 knots, but that's fine. And following the road basically that sort of bisects the town and goes right past the airport. Checking the valley out there. I think I see like a... Yeah, it looks like we're set pretty well. The poppy looks like it's red and white. Just gonna glance out over the town here. There's Buena Vista, Colorado for you, and it looks like off the left there it's like a... I don't know if that's like a high school. I want to check my speed. 70 knots. Yeah, there's like a high school back there. Yeah, about 70 knots, 300 feet per minute. I don't really have to watch that as much now. I just want to keep an eye on my airspeed. My descent rate's not as key. So I can see the poppy red over white, but now I'm going to be aiming for the touchdown marker, the touchdown zone, which is just... That's where I want to put my wheels down. That's just to the right of the poppy. That line. And 70 knots. That's okay. 65 is supposed to be the approach speed, but now I'm going to start to cut the throttle a little bit. And cut it basically all the way now. I'm going to sink. I got to pull back on the yoke somewhat. Drop it in the paint. Look at that. Oh, a little bounce. Little bounce. Not too bad. Not my best, not my worst. But very good. Whoa. A little skidding there on the brakes. Okay, we're not going to be able to make this first taxiway. Don't worry about that. We don't want to spin out. So we'll roll down to the next one. Retracting my flaps. I'll look out the left window here for a second. Let's see. That's what's off the left side of the airport there. There's the highway off the left. Yeah, and then we're going to run off to the right here, taxi around. There's the taxiway coming up ahead there. Flaps are up. My lights, my fuel pump's off. My landing light is off. My taxi light's on. So we're going to exit at whatever this taxiway is. They don't have taxiways labeled in this sim, one of the only problems, but they do have the runway labels. This is runway, looks like 1533. So I would normally hear, oh, a little stutter. Actually, a lot of stutter. Normally at this point, you would do, you contact ground and do your run down or whatever, make sure your flaps are up and everything. But we got a little bit of a lockup here because it is VR. So you got to give it a little bit of... When I get my new PC, that won't be a problem. But check both ways. And we're going to taxi on back to the hangar. Spend just a little bit of time here in Buena Vista, Central Colorado. Head back down. And then we got to get south. I'm going to be trucking with Pete. I'm going to truck on out of here and make my way down towards KAEJ, where I'm going to do short field landing. So thanks for watching, folks. Hope you liked it. Catch you soon. Bye now.